50 Cent just released the craziest videos of Jim Jones trying to kick down doors where he held his podcast after his lease was terminated. These videos of Jim Jones doing this is something that could potentially send him to jail.
50 Cent just dropped surveillance footage showing Jim Jones kicking in the doors of his own Bronx studio after getting slapped with an eviction notice. And that wasn't even the wildest part. Before that clip, 50 leaked audio from the landlord claiming Jones was sitting on more than $200,000 in unpaid rent. Then he posted video of the studio with no heat, no electricity, nothing, right in the middle of a brutal New York winter. And way before all this chaos, 50 had been calling Jim Jones a federal informant for years, clowning his album sales and treating him like a chess piece in one of the slickest long games hip-hop has ever seen. This situation isn't new, and it's not random. 50 Cent has been slowly breaking Jim Jones down for nearly 2 decades, piece by piece. And it goes way deeper than music. This story traces back to Dipset, a staged concert moment that raised eyebrows, a peace deal Jim wasn't even invited to, and a pattern that made Curtis Jackson decide a long time ago that Joseph Guillermo Jones II would never earn his respect. This wasn't about charts, it was about character. To really get why 50 never rated Jim, you have to rewind to the mid-2000s, when New York hip-hop was split straight down the middle. On one side stood G-Unit, 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, Tony Yayo, and later Young Buck, riding high off Get Rich or Die Tryin', which pushed nearly 9 million copies in the US alone. They were untouchable, running the streets and the airwaves at the same time. On the other side was the Diplomats, Cameron, Jim Jones, Jules Santana, and Freaky Zeke, repping Harlem heavy, moving through the mixtape circuit with swagger and confidence that couldn't be ignored. They had Coke Boys energy before that was even a phrase, and the city felt the divide. Both crews were huge. Both claimed New York, and both wanted the crown. No sharing, no split throne.
Jimmy was not a rapper then.
Right.
He was your man, like on the side, like in the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. It's Lloyd Banks thing. He wanted that. He was watching them be that, like Mace be that, and Cam be that, and looked at, and it was finally he had one.
Mm-hmm.
And I just looked, and I knew I just took the shot, Murder, to see, because I wasn't sure he was gonna go for it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, we like Jimmy better than you anyway, Cam. You gotta watch to see how he responds. And then when you see, he like, oh, I really like that. Give me this, give me Jimmy.
The tension between 50 and Dipset had been building for years, mostly through subtle jabs, side comments, and that competitive energy that turns quiet rivalry into Cold War. It wasn't loud at first, but it was always there, waiting to explode. In 2007, everything spilled into the open. 50 Cent pulled up to Angie Martinez's show on Hot 97 and didn't hold back. He straight up called Coke Records a graveyard, saying it's where artists go when they're not relevant anymore. That wasn't a random comment. That was a clean shot at Dipset, especially Jim Jones and Cameron, who were the biggest names holding that label down at the time. The city felt that line instantly. Phones lit up, radio buzzed, and the tension jumped from quiet rivalry to public smoke real fast. But 50 wasn't done playing chess. During that same year, right in the middle of his beef with Cameron, he made a move that had everybody confused. At a packed New York City concert, 50 brought Jim Jones and Jules Santana on stage with him. Not as rivals, not for a face-off, but as special guests. The crowd exploded. It looked like unity, like drama was dead. But behind the curtain, it sent a totally different message. To a lot of people, it seemed like Jim was standing next to the very guy his crew was clashing with. And that image? That's exactly what 50 wanted burned into everybody's mind.
You just look bad.
What?
Oh, they caught me on a bad day?
Right.
I wasn't even on my This they caught a weak one.
The lighting is dark.
Damn.
You see that the lighting is dark?
Got me looking
You
small
still
out
put
here.
this on the internet?
Word up.
I would feel.
I ain't gonna front. I think,
Yeah, I would feel messed up.
if they if they saluting you,
First of all, they want somebody doing a documentary about you. You to be a dope documentary.
it gotta be dope.
Showing who you are, what you've done,
Put out no bullshit
everything
on
you've
me.
accomplished. Like, yeah, documentary is a big thing. Like, you don't want nobody doing a documentary about like trying to just make your whole character look weak. Like, that's petty behavior.
Whether Jim was genuinely cool in that moment or just riding the wave, the optics were wild. The street started talking heavy, and the narrative started shifting in a way Dipset couldn't fully control. 50 finally laid it all out in the open. In 2024, during an appearance on Cam'ron's YouTube show, Talk with Flea, 50 sat across from Cam and admitted the whole concert moment was 100% calculated. He didn't bring Jim Jones on stage out of love or respect. He did it to shake up Cam's position inside Dipset. That was strategy, not friendship. 50 said he wanted to pull Jim to his side, even if it was just for one night, and plant seeds of doubt inside the crew.
You remember back in December, 50 Cent told Jim Jones that he was going to buy the property where Jim Jones holds his podcast.
He wasn't just trolling. He was isolating Cam from his own circle, and he used Jim as the piece to make it happen. According to 50, the plan worked exactly how he wanted. Dipset was already dealing with quiet tension behind the scenes, and that stage moment only turned the volume up. Suddenly, Jim was the one fans pointed at, the guy who stood next to the rival in the middle of a heated feud. Whether he meant to or not, he stepped right into 50's setup. And that's the part that hits different. 50 didn't just go bar for bar in diss tracks. He played psychological chess. He made it look like Jim was moving funny, and that kind of image sticks. That's a different level of disrespect. Not loud, not messy, just cold and strategic. It sends the message, you're not even the opponent. You're a move I make to win. Then came another twist. After years of subliminal shots, interviews, and online jabs, 50 Cent and Cam'ron stunned everybody by calling a truce and squashing their beef. The game flipped again. They both jumped on Instagram to clear the air.
I'm starting the year off at the top of your Explorer. Are you not entertained? Everybody want to put my business in the street. I'll go talk to you about my business. Right now, I am in the second phase of construction. Those opportunities, they still be in working in the midst of us working. So we're still in the midst of construction.
Cam said the rivalry was mostly music, saying there was never real personal hate between them. By June 2017, it was official. 50 and Cam hit the stage together at Dry's nightclub in Las Vegas. Two New York heavyweights who once traded shots now performing side by side. No mind games, no setup, just a public truce that had the culture watching. But here's where it gets messy. Jim Jones wasn't part of that peace deal. When 50 and Cam patched things up, nobody reached out to Jim. Nobody pulled up a chair for him. He was a founding member of Dipset, yet somehow he was left outside while his longtime partner and his former rival made peace. That image spoke loud without anybody saying a word. Cam, the same guy Jim stood next to from day one of the Diplomats, didn't publicly push for him to be included. And 50? He clearly wasn't checking for Jim at all. That silence said everything. Jim went from being a core piece of the Dipset machine to the member nobody seemed to defend. In this game, respect is currency, and his stock looked shaky. Then it got even more awkward. Instead of tension staying quiet, Cam and 50 started joking online, sometimes at Jim's expense. Social media posts, slick comments, little laughs that didn't look so little.
December, he said, I didn't have this on my list of things to do, but if you insist, I'll make time. I'm working on buying the space where you film and 50% of your podcast. You know I don't cap. And let me tell you, this man was not playing when he says I don't cap.
The man who once helped build the movement was now watching his former leader link up with the same opponent they once stood against. That shift didn't happen overnight. That's what it looks like when alliances change and the energy flips. By around 2019, things took a more serious turn. During the federal RICO case involving Tekashi 6ix9ine, Jim Jones's name reportedly appeared in court discussions. Wiretaps and testimony referenced conversations connected to members of the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods, the same group at the center of that case. The headlines got heavy and the spotlight wasn't flattering. In the 6ix9ine case, reports claimed Jim Jones's name popped up in connection to what was described as a planned super violation against 6ix9ine. That phrase alone had people raising eyebrows. But here's the key detail. Jim was never formally charged the way other alleged 9 Trey members were. While some people caught serious time, he didn't face those same federal counts. That gap created questions, and 50 Cent jumped on it fast. 50 wasted no time at all. He started posting screenshots of what he said were court transcripts, pointing to lines where Jim Jones's name appeared. Then he took it further, calling Jim a federal informant. 50 claimed the only reason Jim avoided heavy charges while others got decades was because he was cooperating. That accusation spread quick across blogs and timelines. Jim Jones fired back on Instagram, denying everything. He posted messages saying 50 was lying and that the claims were made up. At one point he wrote, "Why you keep on lying? Why you keep on lying?" and brushed it off with, "LOL, I'm going back to sleep."
Trying to say is, I've been happy to be able to invest in myself and something that I know is going to help a lot of other people. I'm not building this facility for myself.
He tried to play it calm, like it wasn't worth the energy, but 50 didn't ease up. He kept sharing documents, memes, clipped videos, pushing the same storyline again and again for months. The informant label started following Jim everywhere online. Then in March 2025, TR3 Iwe Shadi, who was directly involved in the 6ix9ine case, publicly addressed the rumors. Shadi went on record saying Jim Jones never cooperated with federal authorities and called his record immaculate. That statement was clear and direct, but even after that public denial, 50 didn't back down. 50 kept bringing the allegations up in interviews and online posts. Whether he fully believed them or not almost didn't matter. He understood one major rule about hip-hop culture. Once you plant that seed, it sticks. It doesn't fade easy. Now, every time Jim Jones's name trends, somebody in the comments brings up those snitch accusations. That echo is exactly what 50 wanted. He wasn't just trading insults, he was going after credibility. And in hip-hop, credibility is everything. This wasn't random trolling, it looked strategic. 50 wasn't trying to win one argument. He was shaping how people see Jim long-term. That's a different level of pressure.
50 Cent also put up the termination notice of Jim Jones' lease with these insane videos of Jim Jones doing this. 50 Cent also posted a photo with the owner of the property, and he said, "Sam is my partner. I own the joint. Now you're gonna fix every door that you kick, or I'm gonna kick your..."
And by late 2024, 50 had bigger moves on the board than just rap drama. His Netflix docu-series, Sean Combs, The Reckoning, became one of the most talked about projects in entertainment. The 4-part series explored the serious allegations surrounding Sean Combs, and 50 was the executive producer behind it. His focus had expanded way beyond music. Then Jim stepped into it. On December 15th, 2024, Jim Jones sat down on his podcast, Let's Rap About It, with co-hosts Mino, Fabulous, and Dave East. During the episode, he called 50's documentary a mockumentary. He accused 50 of being petty and trying to profit off Diddy's legal situation. He even told 50 to stay out of it. That comment lit a match. Within hours, 50 fired back on Instagram, and this wasn't subtle. He called the Let's Rap About It crew squatters and claimed they owed over $250,000 in back rent for the studio where they filmed the podcast. Just like that, the beef wasn't just about words anymore. It turned into receipts, money talk, and public embarrassment. Then 50 turned the pressure up again. He posted a screenshot of a headline about Jim Jones previously losing a home to foreclosure. That alone had people talking. But he didn't stop there. He also shared audio. What he claimed was a voicemail from the landlord of Jim's ICF studios in the Bronx. In the recording, the landlord allegedly complained about months of unpaid rent and the stress of trying to work things out.
It's a business move, that's why I invested in myself. But I'm building a facility for all creators. Appreciate the promo. I love free promo, you know I ain't gonna miss a beat.
The message described missed payments, broken promises, and ongoing frustration with tenants who weren't handling business. Jim had tried to question 50 over the Diddy documentary, but 50 flipped it into something way more personal. Instead of trading opinions, he put Jim's financial issues under a spotlight. This wasn't a quick clapback. It felt like a public audit. And in hip-hop, going after somebody's money hits different. That's pride, that's image, that's status. Mino tried to swing back by posting an edited photo of 50 with a styled haircut, captioning it, "Meet killer curly ladies and gentlemen." The joke started flying. Then on Christmas Day 2025, the podcast crew responded with music. Fabulous, Jim Jones, Mino, and Dave East dropped a freestyle titled "Squatters' Rights," rapping over one of 50 Cent's own instrumentals. Fabulous even laughed about possibly renaming the podcast "Let's Squat About It." The back and forth had officially turned into a full-blown online showdown. But by that point, the damage was already done. The focus had shifted completely. What started as talk about 50's documentary turned into non-stop headlines about Jim Jones's rent issues. And that's 50's real skill. He doesn't just respond, he flips the whole conversation. Suddenly, everybody was debating unpaid leases instead of streaming numbers or TV deals. Then early 2026 took it to another level. 50 posted surveillance footage that allegedly showed Jim Jones at ICF Studios in the Bronx after being served a formal eviction notice. Reports said the lease had been terminated, and the video appeared to show Jim forcing his way back into the studio space. The clip spread fast. 50 uploaded it with the caption, "Wanna be friends?" turning a rough situation into a viral moment for millions to see. He didn't stop there. 50 also shared what he claimed was the eviction notice itself, putting paperwork behind the posts. That made it feel bigger than just online trolling. This wasn't just memes. It was documents, dates, signatures. The narrative tightened up quick. Then more footage hit the timeline. 50 posted additional video that allegedly showed the studio without heat or electricity.
Escalation of beef between Jim Jones and 50 Cent came because of the Diddy documentary. Jim Jones was criticizing 50 Cent's Diddy documentary, calling it a mockumentary. 50 Cent obviously wasn't having it. He said, "I understand that Diddy was your hero, stay down with him."
In the clip, someone believed to be Jim Jones appeared bundled up in heavy winter gear inside the building, reportedly during one of the coldest stretches of the New York winter. 50 wrote on Instagram, "It's 10 degrees below zero in NY. Old boy kicking the door trying to get some heat." The caption was cold, no pun intended. And Cameron jumped in too. His former Dipset brother posted, "How you worried about me when your heat off and rent due?" Then added, "I would hate for you to be 50 years old with no heat. What's Giselle bro suggesting?" That public pile-on made the whole situation even louder. What started as rap tension had turned into personal jabs, legal drama, and viral humiliation all at once. The jokes got even louder when people online started saying Jim Jones needed Cash App donations just to cover utility bills. 50 pushed it further by publicly saying he was thinking about buying the entire building so he could collect the rent checks himself. Whether he meant it or not, the message landed heavy. It painted a picture that the money gap was so wide he could literally become Jim's landlord. Later reports claimed Jim wired around $200,000 to settle the back rent and secure the studio space. That move may have handled the business side, but the internet had already run with the story. The surveillance footage was viral, the eviction headlines were everywhere, and across blogs and comment sections, Jim had become the punchline. In today's culture, once that image sticks, it's hard to shake. When you step back and look at the full timeline, it's not about one moment. It's a long pattern stretching close to 20 years. Jim has taken shots at 50 in interviews, including calling him a sucker on The Breakfast Club in February 2026. He's questioned 50's business moves on podcasts and tossed jabs anytime a mic was near him. But every time Jim talks, 50's responds with something heavier than words. He drops receipts, documents, surveillance clips, audio recordings, financial paperwork, eviction notices. He brings proof to the timeline. And then came another twist. In October 2025, 50 posted an AI-generated diss track aimed at Jim Jones on Instagram. He didn't even record it himself. Artificial intelligence handled the vocals while the lyrics mocked Jim's toughness and credibility. No studio session, no booth time, just tech doing the talking. That move sent a clear signal. 50 was treating the situation like a strategy game, not a traditional rap battle. That alone tells you everything about how 50 views this rivalry. He doesn't look at Jim Jones as someone he needs to step in the booth for. He treats it like light work, something to joke about on a lunch break. When Jim called 50 a sucker and said he wouldn't do a versus battle with him, 50 fired back by calling him delusional. He pointed straight to the gap in their careers: album sales, business wins, cultural impact, and made it about numbers, not emotions. And statistically, 50's resume speaks loud. From day one, 50 never moved like he saw Jim as an equal. He saw him as a piece he could move around when it benefited him. In 2007, that meant using a stage appearance to shake up Dipset from the inside. Years later, it meant turning financial issues and public controversies into viral content. Every time Jim tried to spark something, 50 flipped it into strategy. And maybe the coldest part of this whole saga is Cameron's position. The same Dipset brother who built the movement with Jim from the ground up ended up publicly laughing alongside 50. That image hits hard. When your former rival and your former day one are on the same side of the joke, that's not just rivalry. That feels like isolation. In hip-hop, respect is everything. Once both your opponents and your own circle start looking at you different, climbing back up gets twice as hard. This whole story isn't just about beef, it's about power, perception, and who controls the narrative. If you rocked with this breakdown, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with somebody who needs the full story. Drop your thoughts in the comments too. Is this chess or just trolling taken too far? Let's talk about it.